What's up guys, I'm going to be showing you how to record gameplay properly, and the reason for this is because the last video I felt was a little unclear, didn't have nice schematics, and pretty awesome Photoshop skills here. So I'm going to be re-educating you guys, so to speak, and showing you how it's done nice and proper. So this first method is absolute crap. I seriously don't recommend it, but if you're broke ass, can't afford anything else, then you might want to try this. Some people did it back in the day, like 2007, maybe earlier, I don't know. Anyways, before HD recording hardware was, not readily available. So basically you just have your standard composite outputs from your PS3, which get fed into a cheap splitter box, and that outputs one video cable into your TV and the other into the capture card. Audio works the same way. It's split into two pieces. So basically you are playing in SD, which is absolutely disgusting and will make your eyes bleed. Trust me on this one. And you're recording in SD as well, so you get the worst of both worlds. Sorry, but it is $10, so if you're really desperate, I guess you could do this. So moving up in the world, yes, we are now able to play in HD, at least this way, through HDMI output. So you'll be playing in regular HD, 720p, all that good stuff, and you'll be recording in SD still. So it takes one HDMI output as normal, that gets fed into a splitter box. One cable goes into your TV, the other one goes into a down converter, which converts the HDMI signal up to 1080p down to a standard SD signal, which outputs an S-video cable into the capture card and your standard red and white audio. So still recording really blurry stuff that looks like a VHS going through a dishwasher, but hey, I did it for a while. It's not too bad if you get used to it. So that's the next method. So if you want to do what everybody and their grandma does, you can do the standard component out, which gets put into a capture device. The most popular ones I listed here are the Hotbog HD PVR, Intensity Shuttle, and Roxio Game Capture, and then those have the output on the back, which goes into your TV. So you get a signal to your TV in 720, and you're capturing in 720p. The only downside to this method is that you are playing through a component which is slightly worse than HDMI. Well, at least for a purist like me, it's annoying, but you might be able to tolerate it. So we are finally moving on to the good stuff, guys. So you got a splitter once again, an HDMI signal goes to your TV, so you're playing through a nice HDMI output, and then another one goes into a down converter, which converts 1080p signal to a unencrypted 720p signal. I'll explain the whole unencryption thing later. And that gets fed into another converter, which turns the HDMI into a component signal, so your capture cards can record from the component one. So you're recording 720p, but you are at least playing in whatever resolution you want through HDMI. So a little better than the last setup, because at least you get to play with a slightly clearer picture. This next one is what I'm going to be moving on to eventually. It's pretty much identical to the last one. The only difference is the capture card, which is the avlaible HD Game Capture, or Game Capture HD. Yeah, that's right. What this basically does is allow you to record in HD without the need for your PC to be right there. So it doesn't use your PC resources, plus you can have your computer in the other room. Basically, once it records its footage, you simply transfer that to your PC through a flash drive, external hard drive, whatever. So now we're about to get insane in the membrane. This method will pretty much allow you future-proof for the PS4, next-gen Xbox. That's the only real reason I would recommend it. At the moment, it's not too useful. It's just not worth the slight quality upgrade because the costs are substantially more. So check this out, you got one HDMI cable which goes into a splitter, one gets fed into your TV as usual, the other one goes to an HDCP stripper because Hollywood thought they were clever and wouldn't allow unencrypted HDMI signals to get passed through, and that's the only thing the capture cards can record. I don't know, some pathetic attempt to stop piracy, but that failed since now people are ripping through Blu-rays. Take that, Hollywood. But it's still around, and inconvenience, and just racks up the costs because the stripper is pretty expensive because it is blacklisted pretty much everywhere. This is the only one I could find. There might be cheaper ones online, so you could get lucky. So you got one 1080p signal going out the splitter box into the stripper, which outputs an unencrypted 1080p signal, which gets fed into the capture card so you can record in 1080p. This way you're playing in 1080p and you're recording in 1080p. So only really useful for the PS4 and next gen Xbox. You could do it now, and the only advantage of that is that instead of recording component video, you're recording HDMI video 720p, which will look slightly better, but I don't necessarily know that the cost justifies it. I mean, if you got money to burn, go for it. Hey, I'm no Rockefeller, but I know some of you might be. And this method is just straight up psychotic here. What you want to do is basically the same as the last one, but you're recording uncompressed 1080p video, which at 48 bits works out to something like 700 megs a second. It's pretty ridiculous. The setup is the exact same pretty much. The only difference is that you need an insanely good computer, or relatively pretty decent, in order to handle this. And the reason for that is you'll need like 3 terabytes of space, because this takes up a hell of a lot of space. Probably a Core i7 processor, 16 gigs of RAM, good video card, all that good stuff to be able to capture smoothly uncompressed 1080p video. And the reason why you would want to do this, if you have the cash to burn, is because you only have to compress once. With the other method, you are compressing through the capture card 1080p, and then on top of that, once you go to edit, you output compressed video, and finally YouTube compresses it a third time. This way you skip one step and you can edit raw uncompressed video and only compress it once through your editing program, and a second time through YouTube, so it only goes through 2 cycles. But again, editing uncompressed 1080p video requires a ton of horsepower, so you will need a pretty wicked computer setup to get this up and running. I would predict that from scratch, with all the equipment, you're looking at least like a $3,000 investment. So pretty insane, but if you're baller rich, go for it, give it a shot. Let me know how it works out, if it's worth it. So I hope this video was informative for you guys. This is the best method I could find for the various stages of recording at this current time, 2012, the beginning of it anyways. There might be some other solutions I'm unaware of. Hopefully in the future something cheaper will come up, but this is basically how capturing works. So I hope that awesome pictures that I drew for you helped, and yeah, go out there and record your own gameplay if you can. Peace out, guys.